Hello everyone, my name is Raman. Today, in this video, I will show you the third game between Magnus Carlsen and Sergey Karjakin, played in World Chess Championship 2016 on November 14 in New York. Magnus Carlsen, the world champion with white, played e4 and Sergey Karjakin, his challenger, replied e5 and Magnus played nf3 and c6, bishop b5. This is the Rai Lopez and instead of the regular move a6, Karjakin replied knight f6 and this is a brilliant defense and this has become quite popular after Vladimir Kramnik played against Gary Kasparov in the 2000 World Championship and hence and from then it has been a very popular defense for black. Almost all 80% of the games have been drawn and remaining has been a result has been obtained and yeah, I guess both of the players have prepared well, I guess. And after castling knight takes e4 and here we have two main options, rook e1 or either d4 or either rook e1. Rook e1 is a main is a choice in the game and after d6 retreating the knight and after knight takes e5 bishop e7 and bishop f1 was played and I guess bishop d3 is also a very good option and after bishop f1 knight takes, rook takes and castling and d4 and then bishop f6 and here usual the book move is rook e1 but instead Carlsen played the move very unusual move rook e2. I guess during the commentary session, one person said that once MVL Maxim MVL was playing against Magnus App, and during these kind of position or this exact position I don't know, but MVL had a mouse slip or finger slip and played the rook to rook e2 instead of rook e1. And after the whole game he analyzed the game and then he thought that rook e2 is also good and he actually tried against it the Dutch number one player Anish Giri. Could you believe it? I guess that from that time onwards I guess this move has become quite famous. Instead of the original move rook e1, rook e2 has been a surprise weapon for white and I guess there are four games on the move rook e2, and there are several other games on the move rook e1. Okay, the most famous move is rook e1, but rook e2 was the choice of Magnus, and here there are two main moves actually. Knight f5 and b6. Here these are the two popular moves here. And almost I guess Karjakin thought for almost about 20 to 25 minutes of thinking and then he played the move b6 and Carlsen again played the move rook e1. I know it looks really funny. We can directly retreat the rook directly to e1 square, but white retreat to e2 and then again to e1. And one interesting idea when the rook is placed on e2 is when all the three pieces have been developed, say knight to c3, bishop to f4, and queen to d2, and then rook directly comes to e1, and then we'll have an open file. We'll have the bat on the open file. It saves a move. But this could be the idea, but also to surprise Karjakin with his opening preparation. I guess Carlsen played this move and b6 and then rook e1 and why rook e1 now? Because there can be bishop cannot not only fianchetting the bishop but also to exchange the light square bishop, because this bishop quite becomes a very useful piece in the defense of the king when you play something like g3 and then you play bishop g2 and fianchetto the bishop. The light square bishop becomes a very crucial piece in defense, and hence I guess Karjakin wants to exchange. He can exchange if he need, and hence I guess Carlsen retreated the move, and rook e1, and then rook e8, and bishop f4, rook takes, queen takes. Um, Here Karjakin played the move queen e7, but we can. Why not take this pawn, right? Why not take this pawn? It's for free, right? I know. Let's take a look at this. It's like a poisoned pawn actually. A poison pawn is which is if taken can be dangerous for your game, or it's like you lose material, or you lose the game completely, or something like that. That's the meaning of poison pawn. And bishop takes d4, and bishop takes, c takes, and here you can play queen e4, and two pieces have been attacked, the a8 rook and the d4 bishop, and after bishop takes b2, queen takes a8, queen f8, knight c3, again two pieces. It's most natural choice is to take the rook, and if bishop takes a1, then knight d5. The main threat is knight check, and to cover the square, only move again bishop f6, and queen takes a7. Now look at the pawns. We before this move, white was almost 2 pawns down, but now we got 1 pawn, and very soon we are going to get all the pawns. I mean all the pawns with we are going to get our material back with a very good choice, with a very good position. b5, and queen a8, queen d8. It's like zugzwang, completely zugzwang, because we cannot move a single piece or pawn without losing anything. We don't want to move, but still we have to move. Bishop takes b5, and bishop g5 or bishop h4 doesn't matter. Bishop g5, queen b8, g6, and f4, and basically it's gone. I mean, it's completely gone. We can if this bishop retreats, then bishop h4, then we play g3, and if it's either bishop f6 or bishop e7, we take, and then take the bishop, and if bishop to h6, then we can play either the bishop or queen. The knight b6 is better, because we do not give any escape squares to queen to play the move. We basically cover this diagonal, and if instead of the move queen, after queen takes e1, if instead of the move bishop takes d4 or knight f5, queen e7, we can play knight f5 also, right? But that doesn't help. Because we have bishop takes e7, and if we take with the queen, then we are going to have a mate, and if we retreat, we are white has a very good game, and Karjakin has seen this, and hence I guess he played the move queen e7. Okay, and I guess here queen e7 was not expected by Magnus. I think Magnus' home preparation has ended here. Has ended here, I guess. And Magnus was also thinking. Had a very deep thought, and then he played the move knight c3, and bishop b7, queen takes, bishop takes, and here there are a couple of very good moves, and it's a matter of taste where you want to play. You want to play on the king side, or on the queen side, or in the center, or you want to develop. Magnus' choice was a4, but I guess knight b5 is also a very decent option, as well as the rook e1, placing your rook on the in the center on the open file. I guess is also a very good option. And sorry, and after a4, Karjakin played a6. I think again it's a matter of taste. We can also simply play the move a5 and then stop the pawn there, but still a6 is also a very good option, very good move by Karjakin. And g3, I guess again here g4 could have also been a very decent option, like taking away the square. And in case of any move like g5, I guess bishop to g6, bishop to g3 could have also been available as a retreating for square for the bishop. I guess this is a very good option for g4 could have also been tried, like g3. Basically Carlsen is doing nothing but provoking the weakness from Carlsen camp, Karjakin camp. Like say here b6 was provoked, and then a6, and then with now the coming move g5. These are all pawn moves or unnecessary pawn moves, like provoking the weakness. And after bishop takes d6, bishop takes d6, and bishop g2, exchanging the bishops, and king takes g2. And here Karjakin played the move f5. I guess rook e8 is also a very decent option. And let us see that knight d5, king g7. If you think that why not play the move rook e2 and place your rook on the first or second rank, or 7th or 8th rank for black and white respectively. Rook e2, then we get simply knight e3 and then trapping the rook. Hence I guess after knight d5, king g7 is a good option, stopping the any moves. And I guess this could have also been a very decent play from both sides, but still Karjakin opted for the move f5. And then after knight d5 by Carlsen, king f7 was played. Basically the main threat is now forking the king and pawn. And after knight d5, king f7, and then after knight e3, attacking the pawn. Attacking the pawn. And after king f6, protecting the pawn. And knight c4. Here Karjakin played the move bishop f8. But I don't think capturing the bishop with the knight is a big threat, because basically after you capture it, let's see, although it doubles the pawns, but still we are going to get a open file, semi-open file. And that's all. Karjakin is it's okay to take a draw from Carlsen, because with right now the position is roughly equal. And then you need if you, it's a matter of again a taste. If you want to continue for a long time, then you can play, but if you just want to stop there, it's okay. But I don't think bishop f8 was a good choice. Basically you're locking your own piece out of the game. Like I don't see any good squares for the bishop. Hence I guess it was okay to give up the bishop at the knight. And instead of the move bishop f8, rook e8 could have been tried, again taking up the only open file. And after rook e8, say knight takes, c takes, rook a3. The main idea is to take the open semi-open file. And rook e2, and either rook b3 or rook c3. It's rook b3, then king e6, and rook e3 check. This is a very good option. This is a very good neat idea to exchange the rooks and then go for an pawn end game. But it's again a matter of choice. If you want, you can play rook c3 and then protect this pawn. and then either penetrate into the opponent's camp either through c7 square or c8 square, and then you can play any move you want, and again it's again a matter of taste. I mean, and then it's a matter of taste. I mean, it's completely okay. It's completely it's completely okay to play in like this, but the option like, the move played by Karjakin Bishop F8 was I don't think it was a really good move. And after Rook E1, Rook D8 was played. After the during the press conference after the game, Karjakin accepted that Rook D8 was a bad Rook D8 was not a very good move. I mean, because of the move Rook D8, he wasted the time, and instead, I guess he said he could have played the move B5 or D5. I'm not sure which move he said, but I guess B5 should have been played. Again a very simple. You're open the open. I mean, basically now you're attacking the knight, and what are you gonna do, Carlsen? Either you are you gonna exchange the pawn and then retreat the knight, or move the knight, or then it's asking a question like. But after the move Rook D8, there was no threat. There was no threat for the knight. It was very safe. Hence, Carlsen played the move F4, and this looks very, I mean, this made Karjakin very unhappy with his choice of the previous move played. Mm, like, you cannot simply play the move h6 and then support the pawn, because it basically opens up another semi-open. It makes another semi-open file for the white rook, where your pawn and king are placed on the same file as your rook is placed, and simple moves. It makes really uncomfortable for for uh, for the pawn, f5 pawn, because we can attack it simply, and he cannot defend it with enough resources, and hence I guess it's a good option to take. And after g takes f4, g takes f4, I guess here also it is roughly equal for both sides. uh, b5, and then after e takes b5, e takes b5. Again, it's a matter of taste, to whether to play the knight to e5 or knight to e3. I would have played something like knight to e5. Why not? Why not? I would have played that move, and say knight e5, bishop d6, king f3. Again, it's a matter of taste, but Carlsen played the move knight e3, and the threat is simple: play fork, and I guess it was okay to Carlsen Karjakin replied with the move c6. I guess it was okay to leave it there. I mean, uh, any move would have been normal here. Uh, Say something like bishop to h6. I mean, I'm not sure, bishop to h6, and then after you play a check, and then you take the knight. We can simply attack the knight, and then we could penetrate. But I don't know, something like rook a8. Rook a8 could have also been tried instead of the move bishop a6. Bishop a6 may not be 100% sure. I may not be 100% sure, but something like rook a8 can again be played, and then after Carlsen played the move uh, knight to d5 check, and then after taking the c7 pawn, we could simply get back and then attack the knight, and then we could simply take the unprotected pawn, c2 pawn, and then we could have taken then we could have get a very good counter-attacking chances. But I guess it was okay to play c6, um, and c6. Here Carlsen played the move king f3, but I guess rook a1 was also a very playable move. and after king f3, Karjakin played the move king rook a8, and Carlsen played the move rook g1. Uh, I guess now Karjakin played the move rook a2, b3, and then here c5. C5 was a choice of Karjakin. I don't think here C5 is a good option. I guess here bishop to h6 should have been played to cover. Bishop to h6 is nothing but it covers the g5 square, and hence I guess bishop to h6 should have been played. And again, not to cover the main idea of the bishop h6 used to cover the g5 square, right? And then why not play the move h6? The main disadvantage of h6 is something like h4 and h5, and then the rook penetrates to the through the g6 square, and that's the reason bishop h6 should be played and not h6. And also but once you play the move to bishop to your h6 square, it's gonna be fixed, because something like until and unless you move away your rook, you cannot take the bishop, because it leaves the g5 square unprotected. That's the main problem. And c5 in some cases it looks good, because if you simply take it, then bishop takes, and then when you take the knight, we can take the pawn. In some ways it looks good, but if you give it a deep thought, then you can easily counter it, like playing rook g8. The bishop is currently unprotected, and hence we need to protect it with king f7, rook g2, and Karjakin played the move c takes d4. Why not again go for protecting the pawn? The main difference is that let me show you the continuation of let me show you this variation I have seen. And d takes c5, bishop takes c5, knight takes f5, king takes f5, and then here we have the bishop falls again now, king f6, and rook takes c5. That's the reason c takes d4 was opted and not king f6. And why not we cannot see the difference when the rook is on g1 and rook is on g2, because now also when we take and bishop takes, and we cannot take the pawn f5 pawn here, because the bishop attacks the rook. Takes the rook when we move the knight. That's the main difference we have got here. First attack the rook, and then bring it back to g2, not the g1 square. That's the main difference. And rook g8, king f7, rook g2, and c takes d4, knight takes f5, and d3, c takes d3. Now we can see that white is a healthy pawn up. And Karjakin played the move rook a1. I guess here rook a3 was a little bit better compared to rook a1, but still both are a little bit. Advantage is for advantage is only for white. Black is completely under defense now. But remember that Karjakin is one of the world's best defender, and in this game he will show you that again. After knight d4, b4, and rook g5, rook b1, and rook f5 check, king e8, and rook b5, rook f1 check, rook king e4, rook e1 check, king f5, and rook d1, and here there are many more two options available, and I'm sorry, one is a rook e5 check, and one other is a rook b8 check, and take a look at these moves. I mean, both looks good, but Carlsen's choice was rook e5 check, but I think rook b8 check must have been played because I will show you the this variation, and king e7, king e7. I will show you. For example, if king f7 was played, then knight f3, and you cannot take the d3 pawn because of the fork, and hence king e7 or king e7 must be played to avoid the fork, to avoid the fork, a small difference, and king e4 protecting the pawn, rook e1 check, king d5, rook d1, and knight f5 check, and king f7, something like this. It goes on, but still, here I mean, this is a very good uh, uh, play from Carlsen. I mean, this could have been a good play from Carlsen, but during press conference, someone asked, "Did you see the move rook e5, rook b8? Did you consider the move rook b8?" I did consider. He said that I did consider, but I mean, he did consider, but he felt that rook e5 was a better option than rook b8 check. Okay, let's get back into the game. And after rook e5 check, king f7, and then rook d5 was played. I guess here the king e4 was better to play. I mean, the main difference is now white is a pawn up, and the defender side, Karjakin, what he should consider is how to exchange the pawns. The more number of pawns he exchanges, the better he begins. The better for him. For him to be the more his chances for drawing the game would increase, and the more number of pawns there are on the board, the more number of the higher chance for Carlsen to draw the game. I mean, to win the game. That's a main difference. Now because of the move rook d5, Karjakin exchange a pawn, and rook takes c3. But I mean, both of them got a pawn. I mean, even now Carlsen is although a pawn up, but I mean the probability of winning the game decreases. The main drawback of exchanging pawns is the uh, the winning chances of Carlsen decreases, and the drawing chances of Karjakin increases. That's the main difference of exchanging the pawns. And king e8, rook d5, and rook h3, rook h3 or rook d2, anything. It's a matter of taste. I mean, there is not much difference. Rook e5, king f7, rook e2, bishop g7, knight c6, and here Karjakin played the move rook h5 check. Why not take the pawn, right? Because we shouldn't take the pawn, because again it's a tactic or trick or poison pawn or something like that. Because after let me show you, knight d8 check, king f8, and then knight e6 check, and king f7, and knight g5 check, and basically it's going to be mate in I mean, it's a huge advantage, or either it's going to be mate or a huge advantage for white, and yeah, a win will follow shortly, and hence it's not advisable to take the pawn, and hence Karjakin played the move rook h5 check, and after king g4, and rook c5 attacking the knight, knight d8 check, and here here I'll show you a couple of moves, and Karjakin's choice was king g6, but what happens if you go to king f6? Then it's going to be mate in one, and if you go for king g8, then it's going to be a huge advantage again. Knight rook e8 check, bishop f8, and then rook takes f8, and the king takes f8, and knight e6 fork. I'm sorry. And and uh, it's winning for white, and hence that's why king g6 was a good move. I mean a better move. Knight is, and then knight e6, and hy check. I mean this is a very good intermediate move. Uh, this can be explained in the coming in the by with the following with king f3 and rook c3 and rook c3. I Carlsen played the move king e4, but I guess rook e3 must have been tried here because team black is not going to exchange the rooks, because it's a very definitely easy in winning endgame for white if rooks are exchanged. And I mean at this position, and I mean for example, I don't think here taking is a good option. I don't think taking is a good option, um, because after king takes e3 and bishop to c3 and king e4, I think this is a very good, very pleasant endgame to play for team white, and hence I don't consider here taking was Carlsen would Karjakin would have taken it, and this was a little better than what happened in the game, like considered in the game. Here king e4 was played, and bishop f6, and uh, rook e3, and h4, and Carlsen immediately after h4 by Kajakin, he immediately replied the move h3, uh, h3. But I guess f5 should have been considered. Either the move f5 or an f8 can be considered, and f5 basically is a good move. That's it. Nothing more to say than that. And knight after f5, something like king f7, and something like king f7, and then rook d3 can be followed, can follow, and after king f8, after knight f8 check, I'll show you what would have happened. I mean one of the possibilities of many: king f7 and knight d7, and yeah, uh, bishop e7. If bishop e7, then rook d3, and if king g6, then knight takes f6, king takes f6, and rook takes e3, b takes e3, and this is completely winning for Carlsen, and hence bishop e7 and then rook d3 would have been followed after knight d7, and these are some of the possibilities instead of the move h3. F5 or knight f8 and f5 check or knight f8 check could have been tried, and after rook c1, uh, at least here f5 check would have been considered, but still knight f8 check, and king f7, and knight d7, king e6, and knight b6, and I'll show you one more variation where if the minor pieces are exchanged, and knight takes f6, king takes f6, and king f3, and it is a dead draw for it's a dead draw game. Remember that small differences. I mean exchanging the pieces is important, but when to exchange the piece is more important than that. For example, if at a certain point of time the minor pieces were absent, then right now it is a draw. But before that, it would have been winning for white, and in the same case goes for rook even. At some point, if there were no rooks, then it would be winning for white. But if the rooks were exchanged at some point, and it is again a dead draw, these minute differences effect completely determines the outcome of the game. Okay, after rook d1, I'm sorry, let me go back. King e6 and n b6, not exchanging the minor pieces, and rook d1, and uh, f5 check. I guess here knight c4 can also be considered, but again anything is fine. f5 check, king f7, and knight c4, rook check. And this is the 16th move, and I guess Karjakin almost invested 10 to 15 minutes of his time, and during this move he was he was having almost 4 to 5 seconds on his clock, and then he made this move and then pressed the clock. And then after 60 moves, I guess 15 minutes for will be added to their clock after 60 moves. And Karjakin got 60 minutes of his time, sorry, 15 minutes after 16th move. And king f3, king bishop g5, and rook d3, rook e4, rook d3 check, king g4, king g3 check, rook g3 check, and after king h5, king h5, I guess here king f8 could have been played instead of what Karjakin played. Karjakin's choice was bishop e7, but I guess king f8 could have been a good option than bishop e7, knight e5 check, king f6, and knight g4. And I guess here after knight g4 check, I guess Karjakin was thinking about sacking the bishop for pawn, for taking the instead of saving his bishop. I think he was thinking about taking the pawn, and because king takes f5, and rook if you immediately take I'm sorry. If you take immediately the bishop, then it's going to be a draw. Mostly a draw, because after rook takes h3, knight e3 check, and king f4, knight d5 check, and basically this pawn falls, and it's going to be a draw. But there is an intermediate move, rook e5 check, and after you play king f4, then you can take the bishop, and the main difference here is why not take the bishop immediately and then play an intermediate move and then go for a draw, right? Why it is a draw if you don't play an intermediate move? That's a main right. For example, if you play here rook takes e1, rook takes h3, knight e3, and then it's like this pawn is also falling, will fall, and you basically don't have any chance to win. But when you play an intermediate move, rook e5, and then rook takes, and then if you play if you takes rook h3, and then king g, and then here you should definitely go for king g3. Instead, if you go for only available square is right, and if you go there, then there is a fork, and hence now you are covering your pawn with his king. That's a main difference we can observe. These minute things that definitely affects your game. The small differences. Okay, let me get back into the game. King f7, rook e6, good move. Rook takes h3. Let me go back to the variation again. Yeah, this is a draw. and this is a win for white. Okay, rook takes h3, knight e5 check, king g7. Yeah, after the game in the press conference, Karjakin said that he was thinking of going for this line, of going for taking the pawn and giving away his bishop, but then he realized that he missed the move, the rook e5 check, the intermediate move, and then he went back to, instead of taking the pawn, he went back to save his bishop. The slight difference, the important move, intermediate move. Yeah, and rook takes, knight e5 check, and if you are black, what is the move you're gonna make? Except one move. Any move is gonna lose instantly. For example, if you play king e8, then f6 is f6, and then you are going to lose. And if you play something like king f8, then knight g6 check is going to lose. King g8, rook takes. The only move that could save the game, not well, could save the game is king g7, because after rook takes and king f6, and here there are main two options, but still, if you simply play something like rook e8, king takes f5 and knight c6, and I don't think that definitely changes the game. Basically, knight c6 looks better than rook e8, and after king takes f5, knight f. Here Carlsen played the move knight a5, but I guess rook e1 could have been tried. Rook e1 was far better than knight e5, because rook e1 basically, the main difference that occurs between knight a5 and rook e1 is that in the game Karjakin played the move rook h1, and then he played the move rook a1, and then he was able to save the game. But if you play the move rook e1, then we are taking away this crucial square, and and then we are not giving away the square and a file to Karjakin. That's the main difference. I guess rook e1 should have been played, at least considered. For example, rook e1, king f4, and rook f1 check, driving away the king away from the pawn, and king e4, and then knight a5 could have been played, and then it's almost a complete winning. But okay, let me get back into the game. After knight a5, rook h1. I mean, at this point also we cannot say that knight a5 is a complete bad move, or we cannot win that move. We cannot win with that move. I mean, we cannot say that. I cannot say that also. That depends on the game. And after knight a5, rook h1, and rook b7, attacking the pawn, and here rook a1 was played by Karjakin. That's the only move that could save the game, and that was rightly played by Karjakin. For example, if you play the move h3, king h4, h2, king h3, and if you think that let me attack the knight, and when Carlsen save the knight, and I'll queen it. No, that's not possible. For example, if rook a1, and if you think that after Carlsen take the pawn, I'll take the knight and let him take the pawn, I'll go back or anything, I'll go back, and I'll stop this pawn, and I will exchange the rooks, and I will exchange the pawns, and I will take the pawn, and then it's a draw. No, that's not possible, because there is an intermediate move. Rook b5. rook b5, and now you are going to now Carlsen is able to save his knight, and then he will take the pawn, and king f4, and king takes h2. And if you think that why not it's a check, right? Why not take the pawn and then take the knight, take the pawn? Why not take two pawns? For example, take this pawn and then later take the pawn. No, it's not possible. It's again going to be draw, because after say a move like king e3, then king takes h2, and then rook takes c5, and then it's again a draw. Again a minute difference, a small difference, a very very small difference. One move could change the game, could change the whole momentum of the game, or could change the whole result of the game. Be careful, guys. Yeah. Rook b5 check, and king f4, and rook takes b4 check, and king g3, rook g4 check, king f2, knight c4, h3, rook h4, king g3, rook g4, king f2, and here a draw was agreed between the two players. This game was played for almost all 6 hours 40 minutes, if I'm not wrong. I guess 6 hours 40 minutes. Could you imagine just imagine the energy they have spent on this game, the energy and everything. This game was almost all about almost up to 30 moves, I guess. It was completely a dull game, and suddenly this turned to be a very interesting game. I know I have showed many variations. But still, I guess I may have missed some of the variations, but this was completely a really very good game. Magnus deserved to win because he was able to completely put the pressure on Karjakin, and Karjakin deserved a draw because he found out the moves out of nowhere. He found out the resources to save the game, and I guess a draw is a very good result, but a win was reserved for Carlsen, and a draw was reserved. A draw was good for Karjakin. It's that's it. I cannot say anything more than that. And let me go through the game once again before closing this video. e4, e5, f3, c6, bishop b5, knight f6, Berlin defense, and a very powerful weapon of Kramnik against Kasparov. And since then it became famous. And after castling knight takes e4, rook e1, d4 is also a good option, and knight d6, knight takes, bishop e7, bishop f1, bishop d3 is also a playable move, and after knight takes, rook takes castling, and d4, bishop f6, rook e2. Instead of the move rook e1, rook e2 was the choice of Carlsen. b6, knight f5, knight f5 is also an alternate move, and rook e1, rook e8, bishop f4, rook takes, queen e7. At this point, I guess Carlsen's preparation was home preparation was complete, I guess. And knight c3, bishop b7, queen takes, bishop takes, and a4. It's a matter of choice where you want to play. Something like knight b5 could have also been tried, and or either rook e1 could have also been played. It's a matter of choice or taste, something like that. And after a6, g3 was played. I guess g4 was also a good option, and g5, bishop takes, bishop g2, bishop takes, king takes, f5. I guess rook e8 is also a pretty decent option, and after knight d5, king f7, knight e3, king f6, knight c4, bishop f8. I guess this was not the best choice. Bishop f8, and rook e1, rook d8. Again, this was not the good option. I guess b5 could have been tried, something like b5, or I guess even d5 is also possible. And after f4, g takes, and b5, a takes, and knight e3 was played, but still I guess knight e5 is also a pretty good option. And c6, I don't think c6 is a very necessary move. Something like rook a8 could have also been played. Rook a8, because after knight check, and we can, if we take the pawn, then we can simply play the rook back to rooks to c8, and then attack the knight. When the knight goes back, we could have taken the c2 pawn, and then b2 pawn could have also been attacked. But still, c6 is also a pretty decent option. And after king f3, I guess rook a1. Rook a1 was another option available. And rook a8, rook g1, and rook a2, and b3, and c5 was the option of Karjakin, but I don't think c5 was a good option. Instead, bishop h6 should have been tried, and after rook g8, king f7, rook g2, and c takes d4, and knight takes f5, d3, c takes, and rook a1. I think rook a3 should have been played instead of the move rook a1. And after knight d4, b4, and rook g5, rook b1, rook f5 check, king e8, and rook b5, and rook f1, king e4, and rook e1, king f5, rook d1. Rook e5 was a choice of Carlsen, but I guess rook to b8 check should have been played. It could have been far better than what happened in the game. King f7, rook d5. I guess king e4 should have been considered, saving not exchanging the pawns, but instead keeping pawns on the board and then fighting for a win. And rook takes, king e8, rook d5, rook h3, rook e5, king f7, rook e2, bishop g7, knight c6, and rook h5. Not going into the trap by this. King g4, rook c5, knight d8, king g6. Again, king g6 was the only move to save the game. Not king f6 because rook e6 mate. Not king g8 because rook e8 check. Bishop f8, rook takes f8, king takes f8, knight e6, fork. That's it. And end of game, right? A pretty neat trap. And knight e6 and h5 check, king f3. And again, this is a pretty good intermediate move, not directly playing the rook move. Instead, giving a check and then driving the king back, and then again playing the check. King e4. I guess rook e3 rook e3 must have been played. Bishop f6, rook e3, h4, h3, immediately playing h3. But I guess something like f8 or knight f8 are pretty decent options other than h3. And rook c1 and the knight f8 check, and after king f7, knight d7, king e6, knight b6. Again, although you are a pawn up, exchanging the minor pieces doesn't give you a win. Instead, it gives a dead draw position. Something to keep in mind. I know when we are a pawn up, mostly we'll say that exchange the pieces and win, but this is not true in all the cases. All the principles are somewhere somewhere wrong. Somewhere misleading. Be careful. f5, king f7, knight c4, rook d4 check, king f3, bishop g5, rook e4, rook d3 check, king g4, king g3, king h5, bishop e7 was the choice, but I guess king f8 should have been considered, and then knight e5 check, king f6, knight g4 check. A very neat move. And considering to take this pawn, Karjakin, I guess he considered to take this pawn. Give away the pawn, and then take all the pawn and then go for a dead draw game. But still, there is a very intermediate move, very very intermediate move, rook e5. Basically, I explained all the difference. And then king f7, rook e6, rook takes, knight e5, king g7, the only saving move of the game. Rook takes, king f6, knight c6. Again, two options available, either to play rook e8 or knight c6. Knight c6, and then king takes f5, knight a5. Again, I guess it was better. It was better to play the move rook e1 and knight a5, rook h1. Sorry, rook h1, rook b7, rook e1 was played. Not falling into trap of playing by playing h3. See, rook b5 check, king f4, rook takes, king g3, rook g4, king f2, knight c4, h3, rook h4, king g3, and rook g4 and king f2. And here a draw was agreed. I think this was a very good game. Although it is a draw game, it is still not boring or not a dull game. There were many interesting points to learn from, and many interesting. This is a very good game, and that's it in this video. Thank you for watching. Good luck with your chess.